It's like, take 1,000. My knees are becoming gelatin. That is my pants rubbing against the bumper, not me farting. So, let's just get right into this topic with the question that I was thinking about. If you are aware of how people operate, if you have been through the ringer before and you recognize certain actions and patterns that just are undeniably like, whoop, red flag. Okay? If you have found yourself in a position with somebody who it's like they're doing something and you're starting to think to yourself like, ooh, that's kind of like a red flag. I don't know if I trust that. Get ready for this. You wouldn't date somebody who is completely absolving themselves of accountability, right? If somebody in their past relationship completely plays victim and you start to hear stuff from their past relationship where they're like, I did this and this because they did this, and you realize like, oh, this person did wrong, but they aren't taking accountability for it. They're just putting it all on their ex. Because it's showing that that person is not capable of consciousness. That person is not capable of their own growth, and they aren't recognizing their faults, right? And so you might think to yourself like, well, okay, if they aren't recognizing their faults, then I might deal with those same faults in the future until they start to learn from it and don't do it again. This is why somebody who absolves himself from accountability is a red flag, right? So question. If you wouldn't do that, then why are you taking advice from people on the internet who are relatable and talk about how bad their exes are, but they don't tell you the things that they did wrong, and they don't tell you the parts where they could have been better? Bing, 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 right? There are a lot of people on the internet who are completely relatable, and thus it's so comfortable to just endorse their content. It is so comfortable to watch their reels, their videos, their documentaries. It is so comfortable to read their posts, their mood boards, watch their stories, because you're like, I can relate to this person. They have similar experiences. They've been through this and they've been through that. Yes, they've been through it and they can recognize their situation. But the question is, you don't know this person. Do you know how much they've grown? Do you know what caused their situation to happen? And did you know how much of it they're actually at fault for? Because you look at relationships and you see somebody who's been hurt. It is definitely hard to leave a narcissistic relationship, right? That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is there are people who intentionally have done harm in their relationship just for attention, and then they don't hold themselves accountable for it after the deed is done, right? Whether it's trying to make your partner jealous, whether it's purposefully avoiding them or ghosting them for periods of time, whatever it is, people do this. And they're like, oh my God, it's so funny, or oh my God, this is how I'm gonna get their attention. No, baby. No. That is how you build a foundation for a relationship in fucking quicksand, because that bitch is gonna sink, right? And the more movement that starts happening, it's gonna sink faster. So when you start to really bring up tensions, you're only gonna just be finding yourself going down and not up. Look for that branch, look for that vine, find another way out. Just don't do the obvious thing that happens when you panic. Perfect analogy. So yeah. And what I see happening is, on the internet, men will blame women, women will blame men. Everybody is bastard and a bitch, right? Because the truth is, there are bad women, there are bad men, there are bad non-binary people, there are bad people across the entire gender spectrum. It is not labeled by your gender, your race, your age, your experience, how much money you make. It is labeled by your ability and your actions in a situation, right? If you're completely capable of being emotionally aware, but you choose to shut yourself off to somebody just because they piss you off, and that person, they're just left in the dark, it's like, what are you supposed to do? Minivan goes zoom. But so, like, I'll give you an example for a post, right? I saw a post of a girl and she posted on TikTok. She's like, I dated the fluffy haired nerdy boy and now it ended poorly. And she made it obvious, like, yeah, he just wasn't making time for me. He was doing this, he wasn't doing that. And at first I see something like this and I'm like, okay, I can immediately empathize with this, right? But then you start to walk into her comment section, and what happens is when she's complaining about the relationship, she's saying, yeah, what happened was he got a new job and he got a raise and he had to move cities, and he's further down in his line of his financial career, and he just wasn't making time for me. And in my mind, I'm like, whoa, shawty, let's backtrack for a second. You have a successful man who is part of your life and is willing to stay part of your life. He might not be able to make enough time for you, but you aren't giving us a context. Is he just not making any time for you at all? Or is he just busy? Right? Second part, he is chasing financial stability. I doubt that there's another woman involved. It doesn't sound like there was another woman involved, but some people might be worried about that, and that's a valid concern. But it sounds like in this relationship he was chasing financial stability, and it sounds like he was trying to better himself. So you have 1, he is growing himself. 2, he's chasing stability. And 3, if he is doing the latter 2, what was he chasing stability for? Was it for himself, or was it for himself and the relationship? Because that's what a lot of guys will do. And some people in general, when they're chasing a dream or a hobby, or like a raise, a higher position in the company, any of those things, when they're chasing it, what will happen is that it won't just be for themselves anymore, because they're looking at the person who supported them, and they'll be like, maybe I want to do this for myself and this person. That's the way I think. When I start to work on myself, and I think to myself, like, oh yeah, I'm like putting so much effort in, and then I look at the people who have been there for me through it, it's like, damn, I want to work harder now, right? And I've had issues with people before where it's like I tell them I want to work harder, and they aren't seeming to understand, like, I'm doing this out of respect for you. I'm doing this out of honor for the effort and time that you gave me, when I tell them that I might just be a little bit busy. That's what sucks. And the issue that happens is, if we find ourselves in a position with a girl like this, who she's not giving us a full context, and as far as we know, her man might be cheating on her, the bad side. Or B, her man might be emotionally unavailable, also the bad side. Or C, her man might actually be trying to chase stability for both of them, the good side. That we're recognizing that we just lack context and lack communication, right? What were some things that this girl could have done? She didn't make it seem like in any of these comments that she communicated with this person before they broke up, right? When I saw comments that were like, well, did you talk with them about it? She was like, oh, well, he didn't do this and this and this. And it's like, okay, but you're absolving yourself of the responsibility of the conversation that you need to take in order to keep this relationship going. Because guess what? Relationships are work. Communication is difficult. Vulnerable. I'm being so vulnerable right now by biting my tongue. Vulnerability is terrifying. But when you do all those things, dude, the relationship is gonna skyrocket, right? Because then you have that connection, then you have that trust, then you have that ability, and then you're showing yourself like, hey, we're both squared, we're both up to the challenge, we're both capable. You see? But the issue that happens is when we have social media and we let it start to sort of dictate our perceptions, our beliefs. We find ourselves in positions where it creates an echo chamber. And if you don't know what an echo chamber is essentially, it's like revolving words. Things go in, but they don't ever come out because guess what? They're echoing around in a little chamber. So, person complains. I was done wrong. This harmed me. That harmed me. This person. Another person says the same thing, and another person joins in, 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 and suddenly you have all these people complaining, and that's the issue where a lot of people will get anxious, is like they'll see a lot of men comment below a post about how women are cheaters, and they'll be like, well, I've been cheated on, and I'll be cheated on, and I've been cheated on, and it forms this perception that all women really are cheaters because look at all these people that have been cheated on, even though there are like 60 comments in one post, right? It's not 6 billion. It's not 6 million, sorry. It's 60 comments under one post, right? The people who are going to chime in on a post about cheating, specifically men being cheated on, are going to be men who are cheated on. And that's a lot coming from me. I can admit that. Because I am a man who has been cheated on not once but twice. And I can say for certain, yes, there are bad women out there, and there are bad men out there, and there are bad non-binary people out there, but there's also good of every kind of person out there. You're just looking in the wrong place. I'm sorry to tell you, but you're looking in the wrong place. And I could totally 100% wholeheartedly admit that in the relationships where I was being cheated on, there were red flags that I was dismissing because I kept on telling myself that I was insecure. And I talk about that in another video. Let's get on with this one. So the echo chamber, what it does is people, they just repeat the same thing over and over, and suddenly you have a community, a group of people who are saying the same thing, and it only slowly gets larger and larger, where what is a relatable experience then becomes a stereotype or a bias formed around that experience. All women are cheaters. All men are, they'll use you for your body. All women will use you for your money. All men are rapists, to be discreet. There are bad people. Let's not avoid that. But the thing that we have to do is we have to recognize what actually makes a bad person and what makes a good person. Because what makes a bad person is not your gender, and what makes a good person is not your gender. Because the thing is, if all men were bad, then why are all men saying all women are bad? Clearly we're just starting a childish little war with ourselves, where we're all absolving ourselves of the responsibility of actually just recognizing our faults and communicating and seeing the differences between men and women. Women tend to be more emotionally intelligent creatures, or at least emotionally feeling. Men might be more critically thinking, or at least just thinking in general. They may not be thinking about emotions the way women will be, and women might not be thinking about situations the way men will be. Right? It's all in a spectrum. Some women might think like men, some men might think like women. I've been told that I have a pretty high emotional quotient. I'm not sure. All I know is that I can cry very easily. And I can pinpoint why I'm crying. So, don't get me started. Do not get me started on that. But yeah. Is that a sofa? Dude, it's a sofa. Anyways. Lemonade. And a free fart. I'm sorry about that. Anyways. That was embarrassing. Fuck. You know, I'm just gonna leave it in the video. I'm too lazy to edit these. What's next? So in the echo chamber, what happens is, like I said, now you have suddenly just a large group of people who are all saying the same thing. Nothing's coming out. Everything's just going in. And it's echoing and it's reverbing and it's bouncing around the walls of this little chamber. And so what happens is all you have is just consistent input of the same things being said. And the same things being said turns into a belief, then turns into a stereotype. And if that stereotype comes true, then all the actions that we take further are going to be based off that stereotype. Meaning when some woman on the internet tells me why men are bad, and it's because they do this, this, and this, I'm going to start looking at people differently. Right? And that's not the worst part. Because I feel like that's existed for quite a while, if we're being honest. Long before social media. But people have started to become creative per se. And what more creativity than a list of how to make your partner anxious? What's more creative than a list of how to make people your opposition? What's more creative than a list of how to get your partner to chase you? Right? It's like we're baby spoon feeding people like a how to be an entry-level politician one-on-one, and it's chapter 1 of manipulation, right? Because we're letting people give us lists of how to manipulate people, and we're expecting this to be the saving grace for our relationship, when in reality the saving grace to our relationships are going to be communication and holding accountability and vulnerability and accepting your mistakes and accepting your partner's mistakes and being like, you know what, hey, let's clean the slate, let's try again, or recognizing that maybe you aren't compatible at all and then saying, hey, you know what, we need to drop this. And part of that is healing the self too. If you have attachment issues, if you have a personality disorder, it is going to be so much harder for you. I can almost guarantee that. But not impossible. Especially when you're conscious of it. If you are conscious of the fact that you need to communicate, if you're conscious of the fact that you have a responsibility to be honest with your partner and not lie to them, if you're conscious of the fact that being vulnerable is okay, then you don't have any excuses. I'm sorry to say that. Because yes, I know that personality disorders will make things difficult. And yes, I know that attachment issues will also make things difficult. But if you're conscious of your issue and you're able to act on it, but you're choosing not to, you're just using it as an excuse. You are not choosing the relationship that you are claiming that you want. You are choosing comfortability. And to that, I would say break up with your person. I'm sorry. Just break up with your person. Until you heal it and you figure it out, you're only going to cause yourself both torment. I think the internet is an amazing place to go for comfort. It's an amazing place to go for empathy. It's an amazing place to go for support. But not when that support turns you against other people. And not when that support tries to redefine your beliefs. With regards to the fact that it helps you practice healthy choices and healthy mannerisms and healthy perspectives. And with regards to it helps you understand yourself as a person and your situation and how to better react. With regards to the fact that in a proper setting, a proper social platform will point out the bad and good things in a person, not by gender or stereotype, but by action and by consistency and by things that we recognize in people who are narcissists or people who are cheaters or people who, are using you for superficial things, by people who are wasting your time versus more committed people. I think these are far more important to study than gender, because you're not going to get anywhere by just blaming the same damn thing, because you are never going to understand it, you know? And part of understanding it is understanding what's actually wrong. Because what's wrong is not the gender. What is wrong is the actions that you are letting slip by you every single time because, oh, she's so pretty, or, oh, he's so cute, you know? Attraction is a bitch. But you know what is more of a bitch? Being used, being hurt, and being lied to, being manipulated. You wouldn't want it to happen to you, so why are you doing it to other people? There's no other solution to these problems than either communicating it and then staying in the relationship and working on it actively, or leaving. It's really that simple. The thing is that we complicate it. We complicate it so much. Practice your emotional intelligence. Practice your regular intelligence. Recognize things within yourself and your surroundings that are causing you to be a certain way. Just don't take it out on other people. I'm sorry to say this, but nobody is your responsibility for you to maintain your own damn emotions. So don't go around making your partner miserable because you can't make yourself happy. Right? Because I'm sure if you have a committed partner who is constantly by you and you are making them miserable because you can't make yourself happy, that person loves you so fucking much, and they are probably blinded by that love. And you are taking advantage of that. That's not cool. I hope nobody watching this video is doing that. Ah, my legs. Ooh, my back. Ooh, my everything. Oh, Lord. I am seeing... Oh. My lower back just cracked in a way that I was expecting it to, and damn, that felt good. That is my leg. They look fucking long in this shot. Yeah. I wish everybody the best. But to achieve the best, you gotta be the best. Don't expect it to come to you. You have to put in at least some effort. Even if it's 1% every day, you know? You don't gotta be giving everything 100% all the damn time. It's just a little bit more than yesterday. That comes with experience. You know? So yes, it's terrifying to be vulnerable. If you're in a relationship that hurt you, it's terrifying to try again. And you very well may want to blame somebody for their gender or their beliefs and say, well, I don't know if I want to be with this person because of this. You know? And that's your choice, right? Just make the smart decision. Recognize what is wrong and what's right. And be brave. It's all gonna be okay. You know? Just don't let the internet influence you. Don't be a sheeple. Think critically. And I know a lot of people will make that argument already, saying, "Oh yeah, there's it's kind of the person's fault for not thinking critically when they're like intaking that information and everything else and blah 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 blah." And it's like, to some extent that's true. To another extent, it's just not morally right. And people should be more self-conscious and aware. And in my mind, there should be somebody out there who's like saying, hey, you might want to be more self-conscious and aware. And if nobody's going to do that, well then fuck it, I'll be that person. I'm going to tell you to do it. So do it. What the fuck? Was that a bird? God damn. Oh my god. But yeah. Be a little more aware. And don't let the internet make every single decision for you, because what's going to change is your ability to communicate and your ability to be emotionally intelligent within the relationship, your ability to get over your attachment issues, your ability to work through them, and your ability to walk away or stay and decide on what makes you commit and decide on what you think looks like commitment. But what's not going to help you is blaming the other people. What's not going to help you is doing manipulative shit just to try and put that person in a square. What's not going to help you is, just absolving yourself of all the responsibility. Because if you do that, then you aren't going to make your partner ever feel secure. They're going to start questioning if they want to grow with you. Meanwhile, you're the one who started it, right? That's no bueno. I'm confident that someday there will be like a proper person out there for me, but I'm not forcing it. Whatever happens, happens. Just gotta do your best and grow. I can say that because I have grown a lot. Maybe not in all the ways I want to. Maybe I'm not the best partner for anybody right now. I'm certainly better than I was. I'm certainly better than I know some people can be. And I take pride in that. One day at a time, one step at a time. It's not hard. You know? And if you want to discuss this with me, if you want to ask questions or share your experiences with growing and going through it, share your opinions on, how social media impacts relationships, hit me with it. Drop something down in the comment section. I don't know. Let's talk about it. Because in the midst of unhealthy discussions, somebody's got to have healthy discussions. So let's do that. I'm getting sleepy. I should probably head home. But yeah, take care, you guys. If you're trying to heal, you're trying to learn from your past experiences, if you're trying to grow, if there's things that you want to know about yourself or stuff that you've encountered, I hope all is going well, because we all make mistakes and we've also been wronged, every single one of us. It's not our responsibility to have controlled all that in the past, because sometimes we don't have the ability to. But it is our responsibility to react how we do now, because we're conscious of it. Reminder, you're conscious of things. If you're watching this video, you are probably conscious of the things that you do. So yeah. Oh my god. Jesus. Alright. Take care. Bye, y'all.